Ayodhya Kand, chapter 77, continuation of King Dasaratha's funeral. So far, we have seen Bharatha and Shatrughna conduct the first 10 days of Dasaratha's funeral rites. And now we are going to see the next 3 days. And Shatrughna and Bharata are extremely sad. But then here in this section, Vasistha and Sumantra will ask them to complete the funeral rites of King Dasaratha. Verse 21. Tata prakritiman vaidhya pitur esham purohita Vasishto bharatam vakyam utapya tam uvachaha. Then Vasistha, the guru and the priest of the Ikshvakus, raised Bharata and spoke to him out of his boundless wisdom. Lofty and noble was his spirit, as becomes a knower of the supreme absolute truth. Verse 22. Trayo dasho ayam devasa pitur vrittasyate vibho saavasheshtha sthini chaye kimiha tvam vilambase. O beloved child, it is 13 days since the flames took unto themselves our Lord and King. Why delay to perform the Sanchayana and the other remaining funeral rites? Verse 23. Trini dvandvani bhuteshu pravrittani avesheshataha teshu cha apariharyeshu na evam bhavitum arhati. Man cannot shun the close embraces of hunger and thirst, grief, delusion, old age and death. It behooves you not to grieve so when they contact you. The Trini Dvandvani means the three pairs of opposites. So hunger and thirst are one pair. You have joy and sorrow, which could also be grief and delusion. And then birth and death, or it could be old age and death as well. So these are the three different pairs of opposites that occur to all living beings without any distinction. This is mentioned also in Bhagavad Gita 13.9, Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadhi Dukkha Dosha Anudarshanam. The perception of the evil of birth, death, old age and disease. These four will always happen to every single living entity. And therefore, we should not get embroiled into it. So Vasistha is giving a glimpse of the understanding of Bhagavad Gita. Another verse in Bhagavad Gita 2:38, Lord Krishna says, Sukha dukkha same kritva labha labho jaya jayo. Tato yuddhaya yujjasva naivam papam avapsyasi. Do thou fight for the sake of fighting without considering happiness or distress, loss or gain, victory or defeat, and by so doing you shall never incur sin. So this is another glimpse that Vasistha is giving over here. Without considering happiness or gain, just do your duty. Do your duty and you will not incur any sin. This is also an indirect understanding that Bharata was constantly thinking of Rama all through the 13 days that he was doing his duty of cremating his father's body. And therefore, he has no sin. He has not incurred any sin through this entire process. It was completely transcendental. He was completely transcendental. He did his duty all the while thinking about Rama. And this is precisely how we are supposed to live as well. Do your duty, but continue to serve the Lord. Whatever you do, whatever you eat, offer it first to Lord Krishna and then you take it and everything will be fine. Verse 24. Sumantra chapi Shatrugnam utapya abhiprasadya cha Shravayam asatatvagnya sarva bhuta bhava abhava. Sumantra raised up Shatrughna and calmed his grief by speaking to him on the origin and dissolution of all things. We have seen over and over again that Sumantra was not just the charioteer of King Dashrath. He was a very close personal friend. He was extremely intelligent. And whenever Dashratha wants to see Rama, he sends Sumantra for that task, and Sumantra hastily obliges. Sumantra can go into the king's chambers at any time. He can go into Rama's palace at any time. So he enjoyed a lot of freedom in the royal family, and he was treated more like a family member, like an uncle of sorts, rather than an employee of the king. And Sumantra had access to a lot of family secrets, and that's because he was one of the most trusted, the wisest of ministers that King Dasaratha had. And he was wise because he has studied the Shastras. This was very evident from how he advised King Dasaratha to conduct the Ashwamedha Yajna, and the fact that Sanat Kumara had mentioned that Rishi Shringa will be the one to help Dasharatha beget his 4 sons. So Sumantra had great Shastric knowledge, and that Shastric knowledge comes into play whenever King Dasharatha's family needed that knowledge to help them out. And Sumantra over here just teaches them. Oh Shatrughna, don't you understand that all the living entities are supposed to be born and they all die, and this is the transference of soul? And he gives all that information. But Valmiki does not elaborate it because he knows that Lord Rama himself is going to give that direct information later on as Lord Krishna to Arjuna. And therefore it is much better to listen to it from the Lord's mouth rather than Sumantra's mouth. Therefore, he does not explain that in a greater detail. He just says that Sumantra consoled Shatrughna by explaining things to him, and he calmed him down. So in times of acute grief, we should rely on Shastric knowledge to console us. That is another point that Valmiki is making. But once again, he does not elaborate Sumantra's conversation, because we are going to learn the migration of the soul in a much greater detail in Bhagavad Gita. Verse 26. Uthitau cha naravyagarau prakashete yashasvinau varsha atappa pariklinnau pritag indradvaja iva. The 2 illustrious tigers among men looked like Indradvajas battered by the rain and sun. So here Valmiki uses the term Naravyaghara, that means illustrious tigers among men. They are Yashasvino, they are very famous. What are they famous for? They're famous for their love for Rama, that's it. That is their fame. That is their only claim to fame. Verse 26. Ashruni parimritnantau rakta aksho deenabashinau amatya tvarayanti sma tanayucha aparah kriya. They wiped their tears and with red eyes of grief followed the kinsmen as they hurried them on to render the last remaining offices to the king. So this concludes the funeral rites of King Dasaratha, and we can see that although Bharata and Shatrughna were extremely sad, we do see that they were sad for Rama. They were sad for the separation of Rama. Vasistha consoles them, as does Sumantra, and they complete the 13 days of the funeral rites. And in the next chapters, we are going to see Bharata refusing point blank that he is not going to accept the kingdom. He is going to construct some roads to make sure that he can travel correctly to the forest. And then we will see him proceeding to Chitrakuta along with his vast retinue. But this was completely important. He had to get through the funeral rites of King Dasaratha, and we have already discussed why. And that's because he had to tell Rama that he finished his duties towards a Rama Bhakta. And Vasistha also insisted that Bharata conduct the funeral rites of King Dasaratha before doing anything else. As also a corpse, no matter where it is placed. Of course, Dasharatha's body was placed in a cauldron of oil to slow down the decay process, but nevertheless, it is still not clean to keep inside the house. And Satyam, Shaucham, Shama, Daya, these are the four pillars of Dharma, and it's not good to keep the corpse in the house for a very long time. And therefore, Bharata had to properly dispose of it. And he had to complete his duty as a son and a subject of King Dasaratha as well. And therefore, because of his duty, he was delayed by 14 days before he could venture into the forest for searching Rama, Sita and Lakshmana and begging Rama to return to Ayodhya. He does not do it because he had this particular obligation to fulfill first, which he does to great aplomb, and then he will go on to the forest. We should understand that even though Bharata delayed going to the forest to meet Rama, it is because he was fulfilling another obligation of his towards a Ram Bhakta, and then he will do his duty to Lord Rama and beg him to come back to Ayodhya. So we should know that Bharata, even for these 14 days or 13 days, he was completely engrossed in his thoughts towards Lord Rama. He did not leave him even for 1 second. And it is very obvious from how Valmiki has denoted the grief with which Bharata speaks to King Dasaratha. Bharata is saddened that King Dasaratha passed away, and Rama is no longer there in the kingdom, and Shatrughna is also feeling very bereaved in the absence of his brother and father, and Shatrughna is willing to run into the fire to join his father, but he thinks it's better to go off into the forest to join his brother. And so we see that the two brothers, Bharata and Shatrughna, are in a state of extreme love towards Lord Rama, and that is what we need to learn from this particular chapter. Another thing is, people might say that we are not supposed to read this during good days and bad days and all this stuff. That is all nonsense. In Ramayana, every chapter is auspicious. There is no chapter that is inauspicious, because Ramayana itself means that it is the literary embodiment of Lord Rama. And Lord Rama is nothing but auspiciousness. The goddess of all auspiciousness is massaging his feet. Then how can he be anything but auspicious? So Ramayana is completely auspicious. There is no chapter or no verse or no canto that is inauspicious. Everything is auspicious about Ramayana. And that is what we need to look at. We need to see the level of affection that the devotees of Lord Rama have towards Rama, the affection that Rama has for his devotees, and this beautiful bond, this reciprocity of love between the Lord and his devotees is the subliminal message of Ramayana. Therefore, it is completely beautiful, completely auspicious, and completely extraordinary. Mangalam Koshalendraya Mahaniya Gunabdiye Chakravarti Dharnurjaya Sarvabhaumaya Mangalam.